Mort Neff was a weekly visitor to Sportsman's homes for 23 years on television, a career that Mort looked back upon fondly.
I've been a very lucky guy. I've had one of the most golden careers that anybody could have, I think. Really lucky. I started at exactly the right time. I didn't have the struggle that you did. You've attained success fine, but mine came faster. Really did. And I grew up with television. Television was in its infancy when I started. You started with a whole lot of guys that were batting 500 ahead of you, and you had to catch up. There's a certain, what the heck, I shouldn't say certain, the whole thing. It's a very glamorous occupation. It's a big challenge. But if you got a little ham in you, you got a little ham in you.
A little bit.
And you can carry on, and of course you have to continue to have a knowledge of the outdoors, wildlife, and everything that goes with it. And you don't want to let that knowledge sag either. Keep reading.
Well,
keep reading.
On television, what was the most embarrassing moment for you? That when the raccoon knocked over the backdrop?
Well, that, and I think the night, really, it wasn't my show at that time. It was my show, but Bill Fleming and Howard Shelley were on the night they were trying to put the portable fishing shanty together, the ice fishing shanty, and it was supposed to be put together in something like less than 1 minute. They worked for 20 minutes and still hadn't gotten together when the show was over. Oh, that was a bad time. And then I remember, too, one of the directors reminded me the other day, the night the beekeeper came in, was talking about wild honey. And this guy had a hive of bees, which he said was under complete control, but when it warmed up in the studio, the way they went. And they closed that studio for a week. I got a bill for that.
The ratings that you had in Kalamazoo, for example, they were phenomenal.
Yeah, we one of the big things in Kalamazoo, which was a great outlet for us at Channel 3 down there, when we started to beat Huntley Brinkley News on against us, boy, that was something else. I mean, we were getting 22s and 23s. It's phenomenal. And I knew we'd hit the top then.
What do you think about the competition? We didn't used to have salmon tournaments, bass tournaments, people vying, seriously vying. Do you think that
that's not the name of the game? The name of the game is a participating activity. Stay away from the spectator sports, you know, and do something on television, show them how to do it themselves so that they can participate. That's the whole secret. Well, you got it, you know it. That's what hunting is. That's what fishing is. Camping, whatever you do. Canoeing, show them how. They'll love it. There is a strong trend toward anti-hunting that by people who don't really understand, and it's your job today to bring the truth to them about it. It's not the killing. It's not the killing. It's the pleasure of the hunt. It's for sure.
You've always been a duck hunter. It's always been one of your favorites. Why?
I think it's more of a challenge in duck hunting than anywhere else. I think layout shooting for ducks down in the Detroit River was about the most exciting thing I ever did. With ice on your ears, you know, and trying to sit up in that boat when they come into the decoys 90 feet down from you. It's a big thrill. In my way of thinking, one of the best things on your show is that recipe deal, that kitchen art that you perform. I think that's got a wider appeal than you imagine.
It could have, but you know, you were the one who told me that when I asked about doing recipes and I wanted to work them into the show, you said, absolutely. You encouraged me to do the recipe.
Oh, unbeatable.
And the trophy book, the trophies, people with fish. Yeah. I asked you, well, is that kind of passé? Well, remember what you told me?
Yeah. Well, you
told me one a week. One guy on the show with a fish every week wouldn't be too much.
No, that's true. Any big catch of the week is going there. But you've overdone it. You've passed me in that. Your trophy book is far better television than anything I did. That's much better. Because everybody's wondering, will this fish ever be beaten? Will this bluegill ever be topped, and so forth? I didn't have that sort of thing. You got a good thing going there. Stay with it.
You miss looking in the old camera?
Oh, yeah, I miss looking in the old camera now and then, but when I see those things now, I think of all the times that I was on that end of the camera, too, don't you? Oh, those were the days, all right. But being on television that long is something that all I can say that it was habit forming. In the first few months that I was off of that camera, I thought I'm lost. I thought life has come to an end. But I've adjusted. I found out, you found out too, that you can really live a great life without that monkey on your back.
People oftentimes compare, well, the new Michigan Outdoors is better than the old. It's almost as good. But I mean, for the era, you were tops.
Look,
And I just use more technology, but
it's different. You can't say one is better than the other. Believe me, television is habit forming. They got used to me for all those years, 2 decades, and I don't care who came along after that. They say, that's not Mort Neff. Sure, it isn't Mort Neff, but they're going to forget all about me pretty soon.
oh, they sure haven't.
And if you're ever replaced and somebody else takes over for you, they say, he's not as good as Fred Trost.
You know, it would be great if, with all the loafing time you have when you get tired of that you maybe move down to Lansing, get a little condominium, and we can do the Mort and Fred show every week. It would be great.
Oh man, you're sitting on the Dreamweaver.
Huh? It would be great.
No way. People made that show. You found this out too. You would think they'd see you on the street and say, how in the world do you figure out what's going to happen next week? You don't figure it out. The people out there figure it out because they write to you and say, hey, I've got a crazy squirrel up in my house that wants to be a pet, or I've got a rough grouse that sits on my arm and lets me feed him cookies. You cover those sorts of things. You do that. Or someone calls up and say, hey, the salmon are really hitting up here. Come on up and we'll fish off the pier or whatnot off a boat. Anyway, the people make the show, and you know that as well as I do.
Yeah.
You don't contrive these things. They come from the tips from the audience, and that's how we made 1 million friends in all those long years. I loved it.
And we love you, Mort. You have given so much to the Sportsman of Michigan. We thank you, and we won't forget.